team's been working really hard, and it's been, good growth together, and neat to see. Obviously, it's good to get that first win, but it's neat to see the progress as a team as we've grown and had more consistency this year, which is key. We're still searching for. We need a little bit more speed to get where we need to be up front and winning week in and week out. But we're maximizing our stuff, keep on getting better, and we're sitting right now 4 top 10s in a row, which is good. So we're making the most of our stuff. Still just searching for that little bit of speed, but just proud of it's neat for Rackley Roofing and how much everybody puts into this deal. Being operating out of Tennessee, it's very rewarding.
Now, are you in Tennessee too?
Nope, I'm still in North Carolina, near Mooresville area.
So how's that communication been with the team all the way from Tennessee?
Yeah, really good. We we do our virtual meetings and stuff, so we're still able to communicate well. We're all truly one big family at this team, so that's it's always neat. We're all very close friends and operate together. So I enjoy that, and I drive out to the shop when needed as well. So I've been out there plenty too. So, and we just built a big old brand new shop too.
Nice. Where's that? Is it still Tennessee?
Yep, right next door to our current shop. So now it's separated the late model shop, and now we have our new bigger truck shop. So that was nice.
And with the late models, a lot of young drivers here today, part of Rackley W.A.R, their development program. Talk about your part in helping those drivers kind of go through their careers and just kind of the development program as a whole, what it's like to be kind of part of that with them.
Yeah, man, it's neat that Chevy has been really working with our team as our team's been growing, and we have a very successful late model racing team, obviously, and they win a lot of races. So it's nice to we'd be nothing without Chevy and all their support and their help, and it's neat that they've been funneling some young drivers, some young, very talented drivers through our late model program. So it's just nice to see our team growing as a whole. Late model program, working with Chevrolet, the truck program, and all it kind of, some of it reminds me of like a little bit different, but same in some ways, like a earlier days Thor Sport racing.
Yeah. And then, I guess, talking about, we're halfway through the season right now, and the talks about silly season are going to come up. Talking about plans for next year, anything you can say about that? Continuing with Rackley, anything?
Honestly, I think we've been so focused on making this thing in the playoffs, it hadn't even crossed my mind. We haven't even talked about it. So, but I'm thankful to have home here, and to join this team, and came on last year, and to just be continuing to grow and improve the program. So.
And with the playoffs, you're in the good right now, PA points. How is that pressure? How do you deal with that pressure to maintain that points position with everything being so close around that bubble?
Yeah, I've definitely been in some tight spots before, and barely made the playoffs in the Cup Series, and it was really tight. Came down to the last race, and honestly, my my trust and peace in God, and knowing everything's going to work out it's supposed to. It's already been written, but I just got to trust in the process through it, but also work very hard through the process. So I just kind of try and focus on what's in my control. I used to be too worried about outward circumstances in my life, and now I really just shift my focus to inward, what is in my control, and as long as we are all collectively putting forth all the effort, working as hard as we can. If you don't, then you're leaving gaps for the enemy to come in and mess with it, basically. But if we're putting both feet forward and working as hard as we can, then the rest is going to work out how it's supposed to. And I'm proud of how we've got an obstacle today. I just learned we got to start in the back, unfortunately. So that's going to be tough with what we're talking about, but we'll overcome it.
What was the issue with starting in the back?
The power steering bump. Yeah, so they found a leak. Unfortunately, luckily we found it before the race started, or else it'd been much worse. But still, at a road course, especially a straight up road course race, we're gonna have to do it the very, very, very hard old school way, and we're gonna have to basically just straight up pass everybody.
And do you think you could use the threat of rain as part of your strategy today to try to get to the front? Anything interesting there?
Yeah, that's what my crew chief Chad Kendrick and I were just talking about was the rain, and how that can, how we can use that to our advantage. That's going to play into strategy and change the race around, and talking about how the tire wear is on those, and if there's creative things we can do to try and help our situation.
And last question, big storyline this year is respect on the track, lack of respect on the track. From your standpoint, just in the driver's seat, being a little bit more veterans in this series and just NASCAR in general, How have you dealt with racing some of the newer folks in this series? What's that conversation like?
Yeah, I struggled a little bit with it and how to handle it because, some of the racing is brutal. And some things it's like, man, we're on lap 5 and I just got ran into, and it's easy to get real flustered inside and let that kind of anger blind you and take over, and then you want to retaliate, and then you really just fall into that trap. So, yeah, the racing is definitely pretty brutal, but I had to shift my focus again, taking my own advice on what's in my control, and I had to really work on it pretty hard. Of being like, you know what, that's just something we can't control. That's how the racing is. It's very exciting to watch as a fan. I want to watch the Truck Series every week. So you know what? It's entertaining. It's super fun to watch. We've got a lot of fast drivers, a ton of talented, fast drivers. The racing is just very brutal and hard, and there's a lot at stake. And everybody's here to win, and wins pay so much. So I ultimately just focused on, I just need to take that brutal racing, and how can I use it to my advantage. And so instead I just shifted my mindset to just trying to lessen mistakes, don't put ourselves in too many vulnerable positions to be wiped out by some of the guys and things like that. And so just try and capitalize on other people's mistakes, and if we can do that, then we can maximize our days.
And then last question, just kind of a fun one. Favorite memory this season so far? Anything funny, silly that just you keep with you?
Ooh, I would just say favorite memory was, I wouldn't say it was like funny, but more like heartfelt and memorable, was North Wilkesboro. The whole thing, from the fact that we finished third and had a shot to win and we're contending for the win, that was great. But more so than that, just like that race was really special. The crowd, the fan energy, the race show that the Truck Series put on was, top notch. I'm biased, but I think we were the best race of the weekend. It was like really, really cool. So that was special.
And then another question after that. Chicago, is that something that you would want to do in the Truck Series, racing on the streets of Chicago?
Yeah, I would. I'm all for it. I like any cool stuff like that, and it brings in so many new fans. That's the cool thing. I just love seeing our sport growing more and more popular and showing how versatile that NASCAR is and can be. And NASCAR's not afraid to venture out and do new things, and having Shane Gisbergen come in, and he's I've known him for a long time and followed him, so I knew, I was like, ooh, that guy's going to be tough to beat. But it's neat getting more series, other countries watching NASCAR because of it. So yeah, I love seeing all that NASCAR's doing.
Cool. I do have one question, if that's okay. We talked a little bit about the late model program that runs at Rackley. We've seen Junior, Kevin Harvick, I'm blanking on the third person that I had the name for, Larson run recently in Car Store and late models. Is there any interest in running any Car Store late model races? Yes,
100%. I do want to run some late model stuff, or pro late model, or super late model with Rackley. I do. We're actually kind of seeking some sponsorship for it. So we need to put that out there and get that on the old web, because I really want to get back to running some late model stuff, just because it's so neat to see grassroots racing grow. Racing as a whole is just great, thriving right now, but the grassroots racing, I love seeing the drivers going back and running some of that stuff and growing the sport and giving back. So I do want to be a lot more involved in some late model stuff.
Just even looking at the stats this year for your team, really good stuff. Compared to last year, you're already matching your top 10s with Dibenedetto. So talking about the success and kind of what it's taken to get to this point this year.
A lot of hard work, the guys have really worked their butts off this year. I feel like we've brought in a few new key people engineering wise, built new trucks, and we've aligned ourselves. Chevrolet aligned us with Jerry Painter. I feel like our bodies been better, and just it's all about the people. Feel like they're gaining on us for third season. Everyone's starting to click more, and it's really seemed to be going in the right direction.
And then what has it been like working with Matt for these few seasons, his growth?
Oh, it's been great. He's so easygoing and a great driver, good to work with. Just having his expertise and experience behind the wheel's been a big help. With limited practice, that definitely helps. The debriefs, learning how to make our stuff better. He's got a lot of aero experience, so that whole side of it too has been has been really big, continuing to, I feel like, help us get better.
And then developing young drivers too is another thing that Rackley is known for. Obviously, one of your drivers, Dawson Sutton, like having him at the track spotting. So kind of talk about your development program and how you're kind of preparing drivers for their future.
It's very exciting. I feel like we've had a really good season on that. We run a lot of kids through our program. Chevrolet, sends kids to Rackley W.A.R. We've been running the Cars Tour, races, Pensacola, Montgomery, a lot of stuff in the southeast. Won several races this year. Been going really good. Something I really enjoy. I go to a lot of the late model stuff. It's my background. So yeah, definitely super excited about the future. These kids are so good. It's crazy how hard they work, and just how much raw talent they got. Dawson, Gavin Bochelle, Connor. I mean, these kids they're definitely the future of the sport. Can't wait to see them continue to grow.
And even just from the owner's perspective, there's a huge conversation right now revolving around talent versus funding and everything like that. So talking about getting drivers that have that raw talent, like how important is that right now in the sport versus, or just kind of the conversation back and forth between
Yeah, I mean, you got to have everything, but, the kids got to be able to put themselves in the position to show their talent. And then once it's time, they got to step up to the plate and get it done. And that's what, these kids can do. Each time you put them in that position, important races, they got to make a decision at the end of the race, and they can. They can just step up and make it happen. That's what's their winners, and that's what's so hard to find. And I'm so proud of our organization, the drivers we got, and the guys we got, is that they're winners, and that's hard to find. And you can get kids that can make good speed and run pretty good races, but to win and get the job done is another level.
In Mid-Ohio for your team, what's the general census of the feel of this track? Do you like this track, or were you treading the weekend a little bit? Or
we had a few issues with brakes in practice and qualifying, so we didn't really know what it was till we kind of dissected it after qualifying. We thought it was maybe a rear shock thing, an extension deal, but we figured out it wasn't. It was the brakes. So I feel a lot better about going into today because we didn't know if we could fix it or not. But figuring out what it was, I definitely feel better. I wish we were starting a little further forward. We're right in the middle of the playoff hunt, sitting 8th. So there's some great trucks in front and great trucks behind. So, man, the trucks are just so competitive. Definitely making the playoffs as everyone's so focused, burning the midnight, the candles and oil, and just been trying to do everything we can to make this playoff chase. And definitely think we got the driver, the team, the trucks, and just got to execute. That's the key for sure.